we're back on another episode on the Real Mission Impossible show. Today, I have an inner warrior who's joined me. His name is Clifford Starks. And he just explained to me that his name might come from, if you know the Lord of the Rings, there could be some correlation. When you find out about his capabilities and mental acuity on getting you ready for your next battle in life, he actually did all kinds of fights. Let him tell you about it. Clifford, thank you so much for being in.
Hey, Coach MJ, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Brother, I'm going to ask you, if an alien came from outer space right now and said, okay, listen, here's a laser. You got to tell me in 30 seconds who you are, what you do. Go.
My name is Clifford Starks. I am a warrior of warriors. I help people become the warrior that they were meant to be in their life. Because I say we're always stepping in arenas, and I support people in stepping in their arena so that they can win the game of life and business.
That sounds amazing. And what a great elevator pitch that is. But that little background you have behind you doesn't really look like that's a corporate situation. So could you tell our listeners today and anyone out there what it is that got you to this position in the first place? What got you into fighting, where that whole voyage and journey came from, and where it's brought you today?
Yeah, I love the question. 4, 5, and 6 years old really shaped me as an individual. And when I was 4, my biological dad left. When I was 5, my grandfather passed away. And when I was 6, my mom remarried the guy that I call dad to this day. And so I took it upon me that there's people who are supposed to be there in your life, and they're just not going to be there. There's people who don't have to be there in your life, and they choose to be there, and we're all going to die. So I took that on, and I'm like, I want to live a life worth living. And so that's what I really focused on doing, was living a life worth living. And to live a life worth living is about doing things that are scary. And once you do enough scary things, you start realizing, oh, it's not as scary as my brain made it out to be. And so I've fought inside UFC cages, in Bellator cages, and I challenge other people to take their fights on head on so that they can just live the best life that they can. Because, there's one other thing. My mom was a hospice nurse. And so I got to see people on their deathbed. And a lot of people didn't live the life that they wanted to live. And that made me really sad. And so I really focused on, one, I'm going to live the life I want to live, and I'm going to inspire others to do the same thing in their journey.
Very inspirational, Clifford. I'm going to ask you, though, at the age of 6, when you had your new dad appear into your life, when did you take up, let's say, an hankering to fight? Did you join a wrestling club? How did that journey start?
Yeah, it started off with getting good in other things first. I was an overweight kid.
Okay.
And I didn't want to be overweight anymore. And so I put in the reps. And when I say put in the reps, there's good times, there's bad times, there's things to learn, there's ways to grow. And I ended up getting there. And it started off with a bunch of people telling me that I couldn't, and 2 people telling me that I could. And I started seeing this pattern. The reason I say I started seeing this pattern is because every situation that I was put in, there were certain things that were showing up every single time, new lessons that I needed to learn, but the same principles always applied in those lessons. And so when I went from that, I got into athletics. I'm like, I want to do athletics now. I got into athletics, and it was the same thing.
Is this a lot of
people telling you what you can't.
Is this in middle school or is this in high school? What age were you here?
So middle school was the weight loss.
Okay.
High school was the athletics.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay, so you were a fat kid in the 6th grade.
Yep.
Okay. Did you get picked on? Did you get bullied?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, listen, I've got listeners out there that also got bullied.
Yeah, it was what was so interesting, I was the only black kid in the school.
There you go.
So it made it even more of a complication.
But where was this remote location where you were the only black child?
This was Ahwatukee, Arizona.
See, I can't even spell that. There's no damn. All right. So you were there and you looked different. And so because of that, and you're a little bit big, you were, I guess you kind of looked like, I don't know, some kind of a tasty treat. What did they?
A little bit, yeah.
They called you different names, and that upset you. First, it had to make you really feel bad depressed and even ashamed to go to school, right? At some point.
Yeah, it was weird. And this was where I was a little bit different. And I don't know if it was because I knew we were all going to the same place. I knew we all die. And so,
Because of your mom and
yeah,
because of also your dad had left and you knew exactly that, hey, listen, nothing is forever, everything is transitional, and
yeah,
so therefore, okay.
yeah, yeah. And so I tried to fit in for a day. I'm gonna be just I tried to fit in for a day and I'm like, I can't fit in that. I'm gonna be me. So
Sure.
that's what I focus on doing. Now, what was really funny, when you speak out something, it's so interesting because you'll hear leaders say things, but they really resonate when you're actually going through it. So to hear like small minds will make fun, small minds will try and keep you limited. Yeah, there were small minds. They weren't seeing the possibility of what Clifford Starks could do. They were looking at what I couldn't do.
Very interesting that you say that. Okay, good. I want our listeners to hear that too, because
Yeah,
it's not sometimes what you believe might be your limitations are, but what can you do? Can you stand up? Let's start there.
yeah, yeah,
Can you reach up? If you stand up and you reach up, you're half the battle of climbing up, right?
yep, 100%, 100%. I look at it's a weird way of going about life, but it serves me very well and it serves everyone that I've worked with very well. I look at everything with love in the best way that I can. I've actually coached some of my bullies on my journey, which was interesting to me. I was like, oh, that's different.
Divine retribution, my friend.
Yeah, yeah. And so I look at life and I go, oh, life's always working for us all the time. It's whether we choose to see it as such or not.
Yes. Now listen, I'm going to have to warn my audience. Clifford is a trained mentor and a coach. So he's not going to give us too much unless we pull it out of him. So let's go back in there and pull some more of that juice out because we've got a kid who was bullied. He was in middle school. And now I want to find out where the journey was from that fat kid. How did you get into a fight? Did you get beat up a lot?
Surprisingly, no, I was a very strong kid.
Okay.
But here's what's interesting, I'm very competitive. It's always competitive. And so whenever someone told me I couldn't do something, I'd want to do it that much more. Like I want to go after it that much more.
We hear that a lot from people who
Yep.
are successful.
Yep. And why I wanted to fight, it was for competition specifically. Now, what was really interesting, I learned something about myself. Bullies teach me as much as I'm teaching them. And what I mean by that, when you get good at something, you want to crush people who are doing quote unquote the wrong thing. And when you crush someone who's doing the wrong thing, you got to ask yourself, am I becoming the thing that I fight against? And it's happened on my journey. It has.
Let me peel that onion back just a little bit more. So you mean to tell me that you felt that there's a lesson there for you to learn from that bully and
Mm,
that you can adjust your behavior or you can grow from that experience by learning those hidden lessons that might not seem so obvious because they're dressed as insults, correct?
yep.
They're dressed as I don't like you, bad behaviors against you. And yet you saw them as ropes that you could grab a hold of and spin around and pivot.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So you're now, let's bring you up. So you're about from sixth grade, you're into high school. You joined a wrestling team, yes or no?
I did.
Oh, and through that, because you're competitive, because you're different, I guess you probably started to lose the weight, right?
Mm,
And now are you winning? Are you winning on the mat?
yeah, I'm winning a lot.
You're
Yeah.
getting a
So,
reputation, you're winning a lot. Okay, now,
yep.
is there at this point, just FYI, are you
Mm,
married now?
I am married.
Okay. But anyway, apart from your dear wife, beloved as
Mm,
she is, at the time in high school, you wanted to impress yourself because you're competitive. You're not going to let your guard down. You're going to win. But was there a girl involved you wanted to impress just a little bit?
actually, no. In middle school, there was.
Okay.
Yeah. In high school, it was all about being the best.
Now, that girl in middle school, she didn't want to look at you, right?
No.
Okay. But then through your metamorphosis, through your growth, you became much more attractive and flexible and lean machine. And then
Yep.
you got good and you're winning. Okay.
Yep.
Pick it up. So now you're what, 11th, 12th grade? Before you graduate, where are you at the peak of your high school wrestling career?
I'm crushing it in all
Yes.
areas. Like I was a high school state
Okay,
champion,
there we
track and
go.
field state champion, all state in football. And I'll share a story with the audience that
All
really, really
state in
served me.
football. Did you say all state in football?
All
What
state in
position
football.
did you play?
Yeah, defensive tackle and offensive line.
Don't mess with him, folks. I'm just saying. Okay, I know this. And then I'm
So,
sorry, I cut y'all. You wanted to tell us about a
oh
lesson.
yeah, this was one of my best stories. It still serves me to this day. I'm a 44-year-old man.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm in the state. I'm getting ready to wrestle this guy. I beat him like 5 times this year, 5 times. And so I'm coming in cocky, knowing that I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do because I've already beaten him 5 times.
Number 6 on the way.
Yep, yep. And I go out there. We go to wrestle. He tosses me onto my back, and I'm like, oh, and I go to post on my fingers so that my scapula doesn't touch the mat. And I'm just sitting there reflecting, realizing I put myself in this position. I put myself in this position because I got too cocky. I thought I've beaten him 5 times. We're going to do a 6. And I took my foot off the pedal for that half a second. And everyone always has a chance. Everyone, when we talk about I'm possible, everyone's possible. Everybody has their moment. And so I tell people go 100% into your moment because you don't know what that moment's going to bring. Luckily enough, or unluckily, it's however you want to put it, because you take the lesson. I didn't get pinned, and I ended up pinning him in the second round, but it was a very valuable lesson to me that you never take anything or anyone for granted. You stay very intentional with what you're doing.
Close call.
Yep.
That close to defeat. You were done.
Yep.
Basically, he had you.
Yep.
And
Yep.
your fighter mentality, your warrior, inner warrior mentality went, okay, wait a minute. There's always a possibility. There's got to be a way. Let me keep that muscle off the mat. I got to do something. I got to find something. I got to wait it out. I'm not giving up.
Yeah.
Got you?
100%.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So then you graduated high school. And then what? You went to work at Walmart? What'd you do?
Yeah, I went to ASU. Yeah, I had a couple years at Mesa Community and played football there. And then I went to ASU and I got tossed around like a kid. It's funny, very humbling. I
Right.
ended up getting taken down, and I said out loud, I'm a state champion. And the guy looks at me, he goes, we're all state champions here. I'm like, okay, lesson learned.
I got a buddy did 9 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he said. He said, wait a minute, I was number one in my university. He says, we were all number one in our university. You rookie, right? Why do you think they call this the NFL?
Yep.
Right. Now, when you're doing all this, your mom, was she supporting you? Was she an advocate for you? Did she approve of all this? Her beloved son putting himself in harm's way? Moms normally
She was,
like their kids being fighting,
yeah, she was okay with everything except the fighting. She did not like the fighting.
which is basically all you did. So, therefore, folks, we had a little bit of a conflict.
Yeah.
Now, tell me this. Did you ever, while you were doing sports, because obviously I'm thinking you had a study regime you had to keep up. Were you a good student in high school?
I was.
Okay. Good job.
Thank you.
Is it a dumb question? Did you ever have a part-time job?
I did. Yeah, I worked at a Safeway.
Okay, so that's important. So you were studying, you get your academic record, your academic career, it had to be at a certain level. You were working out, had to do all the things that you have to do to prepare yourself to be a top athlete and have that discipline and mindset. And then you also had a job part-time to give you a little bit extra coin, right? That's what every high school kid wants, to have a few shekels in his pocket. So doing all that, how much spare time did you have?
Yeah, I didn't really
have time for a girlfriend?
No time for a girlfriend.
Because you were focused, right?
Absolutely.
You were focused. You figured out, okay, that's who I am now. That's what I want to do. This is good. I'm good at it. I feel it. I'm getting praise, I'm getting recognition, I'm getting traction, and I'm
Yep.
going to go for this. You were getting all this
Yep.
approval from yourself and from others, I think, right?
Yeah. 100%.
And so,
I got a lesson for everybody as well. When I was at ASU, I actually was getting ready to quit the wrestling team because I needed to make more money. So I had to make a choice. I had to prioritize. And I'm like, I ended up telling my coach, I got to quit, got to make money. And my coach looks at me, he goes, but you're the only one who wrestles with Kane. And Kane is this big, badass heavyweight of a human being, heavyweight champion in the UFC. The guy's an absolute beast. But I go, I know, but I got to make money. Like I got bills that I got to pay. And he said, if I could get you a scholarship, would you go full time at ASU? And I go, I absolutely would go full time at ASU if you could get me a scholarship. Yeah,
whoa,
yeah,
wow, wow, having the courage to speak up, talking about it to someone that you trust, what's your issue, and you're ready to give it all up, the one
yep,
thing that you love the most, just
yep,
because your subsistent needs outweighed the possibility of your glory in the ring. And
yep,
he saw your talent, he saw your devotion, he saw your potential. He said, wait a minute.
yeah,
I've got this one question. If I could, would you? Yeah. Great.
yep,
Well, yeah, he's a hero. Good job,
yep,
coach.
yep.
I love it. So then you continued on in school. I guess you continued winning. And how did you get recognized professionally?
I got out of sport and went to personal training. So I became a personal trainer and I did that for several years and I like challenges. Again, it's going back to that boy who wants to live a life worth living. And to
Right.
live a life worth living, you go after big, hairy, audacious challenges.
So you were just a little bit bored of the personal training?
I was, and here's what was interesting. I was training at an all women's gym. Let me tell you, there's a lot of learning lessons in something like that.
Hold the phone right there. Okay. We need, first of all, we have ethics 101. All right. So you put your
Yep,
ethics hat on and you go in there and they're all giving you their feelings and their thoughts. And then, we're talking about your deltoid here, dear, your deltoid.
yep,
Okay.
yep,
So let's get back to this. Right.
yep,
Okay.
yep. And so,
Tell us
as
more.
yeah, as we went through it, I learned so much going through that. They taught me how to listen better. They taught me how to see the other side. They really taught me how to be a really good leader. Like I was a really good leader because there were times when some women wouldn't listen to me, but I realized they would listen to other women. So I would talk to those women so that they could talk to the woman to have so they could get the result. Because ultimately, all I want is the result.
You don't need credit. Just
Yeah,
need to get it done.
exactly. I'm like, where are the results? Where are the results? Where are the results? And as I ended up getting really good at that, I went on to my next challenge. And I'm like, I wonder how scary it would be getting inside of a cage, fighting someone with your same skill level and strength.
Now, were you drinking at this particular moment when you had this vision? Because that doesn't sound very sane.
My parents would have believed that I was, but I was actually not drinking. Yeah, completely in Clifford's crazy land.
So it's just a typical sober moment. Life is good here. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And some people are like going out this weekend, water skiing, snow skiing, having a great time, hiking in the woods. I feel like I'd like to be in a cage and have somebody beat the crap out of me.
No, I didn't want to have someone beat the crap out of me, although I have had that. I just, when you go into something, at least for me, I don't know if anyone else can relate, but I go into something and I think it's going to be easier than it actually is. And then when I start doing the thing, it's actually not as easy as I thought it was going to be. Yeah.
Been there.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, it's a little bit harder than I thought, but I like
Yeah,
that.
we call that clever. In my world, we call
Yep.
it being an entrepreneur. It seemed like a nice
so,
hike until they moved the mountain.
so many lessons on that one. If you combine the expansion that I went through from going from fighter to entrepreneur, Like I have so much love and respect for every entrepreneur who steps inside the arena because that's what you're doing. You're stepping inside of arena. You might not know that you're doing it, but that's what you're doing.
The difference is, and really please, I don't have not earned the right to talk about wrestling, but I will just talk about
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur. The difference is, as an entrepreneur, you don't know who's coming after you and from which
Yeah.
direction and from which level. It could be from above, from
Oh
underneath.
yeah.
You could be sideswiped. Your competition can come after you. Your own loyal people can go after you. You're just like there's not. It should be like a game, right? There should be a game that I know my son loves playing games. There should be a game called Entrepreneur where everybody in the world's shooting at you.
Oh yeah. Even with the book, I call it winning the game of life because I'm gonna go back to I'm possible. We don't know how capable we are when either we're pushed to it, we got to be pushed to it, or we just have to identify as no, I'm this now. And when we go into that space, there's something that becomes we become different. And I'm never going to be done going through those spaces because our mind is a protective mother telling us what we can and cannot do. But our hearts, when we want something bad enough and we really want that thing, we'll move mountains and we shock ourselves.
Hearing that and translating that to our audience, I'd just like to share this that you as a young man had already learned these impossibilities and possibilities, impossibilities and possibilities. So you already had this inner quiet confidence that no, I can do something that I couldn't do before. It is possible. So you had already trained yourself in a way, Clifford, to think that way. And
Mm,
because you were already trained to think that way, it's not really a huge leap once you
yeah.
do that. And the reason I mention this is not to discount what you've achieved or what you did, not at all, but to put this out there to other people that just because you haven't done it before doesn't mean you can't start now. And just because you haven't done it before, you can read about, you can investigate, you can look up people that have done it, study their journey, just like your journey, Clifford. Today, people will look at this episode on YouTube and go, gosh, look at him. He was a kid that was bullied. Look how he turned his life around. And now he's lifting other people up as a leader, as a coach, as an author. How can I do that? One of the first bits of advice you give them is, brothers and sisters, belief starts within.
Every time.
That's your
Every
visa.
time.
If you have a visa, that's the country of the unknown who you want to visit. If you have that visa stamp, you're ready to go.
Yep. And the biggest thing too, because I talk about awarenesses, my shift of not wanting to be overweight anymore was when I saw myself in the mirror. I saw what I saw and I didn't want to see that. I wanted something different. And I didn't look at it with judgment. I looked at it with, I observed it, but now I call it opportunity. I've changed, I've adjusted. But at the time, I observed it. I looked at it and I said, I don't want this, I want this. And so I remind everyone that they get the opportunity to look at themselves in the mirror and really say, what do you want? It's a very powerful space to be in.
I'm reflecting now. I had the opportunity to seek wisdom and mentorship from many people that I really admired and looked up to. One of them was Deepak Chopra. He's
Mm,
America's guru, and he's he's authored at least 75 books. But one of the 3 day seminars or workshops I sat with in Lake Tahoe with him and 300 other educators, scientists, and then there was little old me in the corner. We were all in awe when he says, we are neither our positions nor our possessions. So if we are neither our positions nor our possessions, and I was a kid who used to identify with my brand new Mercedes. I wanted everybody to
mm,
see my brand new Mercedes. And then when I didn't have that brand new Mercedes, I was a bit lost, right? So we are neither our positions nor our possessions. So therefore, the question is, like you just said, who are we? What is our essence from within? And do we have a humble heart that is willing to, with humility, learn something new? Are capable to be able to recognize that we don't have to go out and impress everybody? We just need to be better today than we were yesterday. Start there.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time, like, I look at both of us being religious men, and it's a lesson that a person can take, whether they're religious or not, is to say, I'm going to stand for something. I'm going to stand for something bigger than myself. And I know everyone has to go through their own journey. Like, some people, they're going to get that right away. And some people, they're going to have to go through a little bit of life and they go, oh, that's what that meant. But it's like when you can stand for something bigger than you, it's so unbelievably powerful. And then when you stand for something bigger than you get better at standing for that bigger thing. We have two ears and one mouth.
Yeah.
And the more I listen, the better off I am. That's the one thing I learned. So I put my listening ears on as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. How else are we going to learn this? Some people are just so busy babbling, not much going inside. I think an old buddy said it to me a little bit more vocally and with not as much finesse and empathy and love. He said it. I think he was a World War II paratrooper, right? So he was cantankerous. And he said,
Yeah.
when you speak, you only repeat something you already know.
Yeah.
That was his polite way of asking you to shut up. That was about as
I love that guy. I don't even know him, but I love him.
that's about as polite as he ever got. So start there. That was one of my mentors for about 20 years. So
That's awesome.
I did some of that did come up.
Actually, what I'll say is I love him and I like him because I do have love for everybody.
Right.
I love everybody because everyone's capable of great things. Doesn't mean I like everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Some things I do, I don't particularly I look really no. You could do better, MJ. Come on.
One of my recent arenas that I played in, I started doing cold calling, and now I call it connection calling. And no matter what fear you have, like, that sounds like insanity getting punched in the face. But I'd rather step into a cage to go attempt to fight than pick up a phone and talk with a stranger. That was my new fear. I was just like, oh my goodness. And as I went through it, I had to look at it differently. So I started looking at it like, oh, I'm making connection calls. And then I also learned, oh, you got to be really intentional with why you're calling. You got to know why you're calling them, why you're asking for even 15 seconds of their time. And so as I went through that, I got better and better at it. And I go, such is life. We can get good at whatever we want to get good in. If the desire is burning enough and we want the result enough, we'll get good at whatever we have to get good in. And yes, we're most likely going to suck in everything that we start. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, yeah. Every once in a while, unfortunately, we do well and we think it's always going to be that way. And it's not.
Yeah.
Success is the worst teacher.
Yep.
What advice can you now, leaning forward to your next book is coming out soon?
Yeah.
Do you ever go back in the ring for fun, have an exhibition kind of thing, or
I
raise
do.
money
I
for
do.
charity or something like that?
And what's really cool, because I'm both fighter and coach. So not only can I coach other people through the process, I've been through the process. And it's a very unique, flavorful blend that a person can have. Like, even for entrepreneurs, I wouldn't call myself a coach for entrepreneurs and not be an entrepreneur myself. It doesn't ring integrity to me. Everyone's to each their own.
I
But mine
1,000%
is,
agree with you. I love these 21-year-old. I'm a 21-year-old life coach. Can
yeah,
I?
yeah. And I'm just like, I want someone who's lived it, because how can you understand it if you haven't lived it? And so for me, the greatest lesson that I can give people is, there's a saying, where attention goes, energy flows.
Sure.
And so I asked myself, where am I the best leader? And how can I continue to grow that out? How can I spread that out more and more?
We're back on with Clifford Sparks. he's just given us all the lessons that he's learned through his incredible journey. And then we just had a silent segue off camera. It was about being a dad. We had a dad. He had a dad moment, and I was a dad coach, so we worked it out. And he's back with us. I'm very happy to meet him. I think he'd be a great. I don't know if anybody on my committee is looking at this interview, but I think he'd be a great ambassador for our kids for Time for Sharing. It's our global charity that we've had for 25 years, and we're celebrating our anniversary on July the 2nd at the World Class Global Leadership Impact Awards for 2025. And so many people are going to be nominated, including Dr. Matthew Knowles, who was just on our podcast recently, and so many other notables. And I'd certainly like to invite Clifford to join us there too.
Yeah, thank you. I actually want to share something with entrepreneurship. We're talking about entrepreneurship. And I love how Zig Ziglar says, help enough people get what they want and you'll get what you want.
Nope, that's not what he said.
How do you say it?
I got to do this. He's my favorite.
Yeah.
You can get anywhere you want in life if you just help enough other people get what they want first. That's what
I love it. I love it. I love it. And yours was way more animated, so you definitely get a 10 out of 10.
Oh, come on. He was my mentor, bro.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome. And as I was going through it on my journey, what I learned is you learn how to do that, just like anything else, just like riding a bike, just like walking. You get better and better when you're intentional with it. And so when you get really intentional with helping people get what they want by actually listening to them and helping them solve their problem, it's freeing. And I look at, like at one time, I had a belief system around sales, what salespeople were. I didn't want to be a salesperson. I was just like, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a salesperson. And as I went through the journey, I realized, oh, just like fighting, you can have good fighters and you can have bad fighters. You can have people who have the skills and they're there to hurt people. And you can have people who have the skills and they're there to protect people. I go, selling's the exact same thing. When you ask to understand where the fits are, to understand where the alignments are, both sides win. And when you ask to get what you want to get, what I need this, I don't really worry about this. That's that fighter who's not looking to protect. And so I look at life and I go, I am going to be the strongest, best leader and fighter and protector that I can be. I'm going to listen closely. I'm going to see where I can serve. And if I can't, I'm going to do my best to point them in the right direction on where they can get served on their journey.
There you go. Whether it's being an entrepreneur, whether it's cold calling, whether it's selling, however you're influencing others to take action, do that with a servant heart. And I like to say, I've certainly written, stop selling and start serving. You'll get a lot further and you'll get a lot more followers. And plus, we need you.
Yep. Amen.
Great. Listen, I'm going to ask my editors to put in your links in this episode at the back of it. Give us the name of the book so we can flash that up. Also,
yeah, it's
definitely for sure. Do you have 2 minutes of parting shots that we can tag on to this episode? Something that you'd like to say to our audience or anyone who looks to follow you or follow in your footsteps or needs to have a coach like you or would desire one? Let's go.
Yeah. First off, I want to say you're all amazing for watching this because I'm possible. And so if you're talking about I'm possible, you're already into growth. You're already into personal development. So much respect to you on that alone. And then the second piece, if I resonate with you in any way, if there was something that you heard, something that you liked, let me know. That's what I ultimately say. Just let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a, hey, I heard this part. This really resonated with me. And we can have a conversation. I love having conversations with people, understanding them, understanding their stories, their journeys. And if I can support it in any way, I'd absolutely love to.
Wonderful. Wonderful. We've been here with Clifford Starks. He's a champion inside and out. And we look forward to hearing more about him and his continual growth journey to help others level up on the next Real Mission Impossible show. Thank you, Clifford. All the best to you and your family and all that you're doing.
Appreciate you.
Bye.